Listen to the sound, there's a brand new rhythm going round the town. We're packing up the digital, we're making the flight from the old dotted line to a future so bright. DocuSign was steady, yeah, it served us well, but we've got a new story that we're ready to tell. Streamlining the flow, keeping deals on track. We're moving forward and we're never looking back. From the DocuDash to the Lone Wolf Run, we're leveling up and we've just begun. Transact is the name, speed is the game. Real estate magic, it'll never be the same. High energy, high stakes, let the spirit soar. KW family, hear the Lone Wolf roar. Click it, send it, sign it in a blink. Total integration, staying in the sync. Command is the cockpit, the data's in flight. Lone Wolf Transact, making everything right. No more jumping hurdles, no more digital maze. Just smooth operations in a red and blue haze. From the listing to the closing, it's a seamless ride. With the power of the wolf right by our side. From the DocuDash to the Lone Wolf Run, we're leveling up and we've just begun. Transact is the name, speed is the game. Real estate magic, it'll never be the same. High energy, high stakes, let the spirit soar. KW family, hear the Lone Wolf roar. One team, one dream, one platform to lead. Giving every agent exactly what they need. Better, faster, stronger, that's the case.
All right, guys. Hello. It is Monday, and we got week 2 of Lone Wolf. I'm going to stop sharing real quick because we are going to talk first on the beginning of this call, and we're going to be focusing on getting on the Lone Wolf and actually using Lone Wolf. And I want to make sure that all of you know that this is a repeat from last week. So if you're on here looking for something new, we're not doing anything new. We're just showing you how to log in and making sure you are aware of how to log in and where to go from there, and how to connect Command and Lone Wolf and how to use it. So we're not going to be going into any advanced features or anything like that. It's just purely getting on and learning how to use it. So again, if you're here for advanced things, we're not going to do that this week. We're going to be doing that in June. I have some of my Market Tech trainers in here, and they are helping with the waiting room. So if you guys have been made co-hosts, please try and help with that. I really appreciate it so I can focus on the call. What I would like to start with, though, is you guys have a lot of questions. I know that because last week the call got derailed a little bit from all the questions that were there. So I'd like to put those right out there from the beginning. So if you guys want to go ahead and use the chat and throw in what is the one thing that you wanted to make sure you came in here and learned from today. And Brett, I'm going to make you a co-host as well, please. Please go ahead and put into the chat, what are you mostly wanting to learn? What is Lone Wolf? Thanks for accessing that. Lone Wolf is a signature platform that we are switching over to. Understanding what Lone Wolf will do versus DocuSign. Definitely going to be going over that. How to copy an email while in Transact. How it's better than DocuSign. How to get an EVBA signed quickly. Anything and everything. Transferring files from DocuSign to Lone Wolf. Would it help to be on our computer? Absolutely. That's a very good question. Thanks for asking that. I would highly suggest, well, you're on the computer so you can be going along with us as we do this. Is Lone Wolf the same as Transaction Desk? Same company owns it. They're using AuthentiSign to sign with, just like Transaction does. Let's see, anything else? How not to feel the pain of switching e-signature platforms. I don't think you're honestly going to feel a ton of pain with this. I think the biggest thing is just changing your mindset around it. If you're like learning the language around it. Um, I think, hey, Brett, do you have that package I put together? It's got the different what's called in DocuSign versus what is called in Lone Wolf.
Yeah, I'll find it and post it in the chat.
Thank you, appreciate that. Can Lone Wolf do open-ended docs like tenant applications? Can it do the custom docs like doc gathering for due diligence? I think what you're trying to say is, can you template it there, Christopher? Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much templates or have it left open. Like I just have an open link and tenants roll through it and then it sends me a note saying information's been gathered.
The answer to that is yes. You can upload your own document. You can go through and template it out. Yes. We're not going to be doing that in today's class because today's going to be more basic. That would be more something we go over in June's class when we go over more advanced stuff.
Perfect.
All right. I think that's most of the questions that are going to come through today. And that's pretty much the same questions we went through and answered last week. So make sure I cover every bit of those as we go through this class. I am going to show you that as we are in here, I'm going to share my screen and I'm not going to be doing slides. I am just going to walk you directly through. So I'm going to go 3. Okay, so this screen here, I've gone in and set up a fake account. And one of the things I had learned last week is if you don't set up these fake accounts early enough, then your Lone Wolf account's not going to be working properly. So I'm going to walk you through this, and I'm going to take you over to one of my other accounts that actually has it working. But I wanted you to see what it's like when you come into Command and you're setting this up. So you should be logged into Command, first of all, to do this. If you want to do this along with me, you're more than welcome to, okay? So we're logged in. We're going to click on the top right-hand corner where your name is. You most likely have your business account right here that says your name in there. And then you're going to go to Settings. Once we go into Settings, you should see Lone Wolf here. If you do not see Lone Wolf here, then what I'm going to ask you to do is come up to your URL right here where it says console.command. And to the left of that, you're going to see this icon. If you click on that, you'll see the cookies and site data. You're going to go ahead and click that. And then you're going to see right here, Manage On-Site Data. You'll click that one more time. And you're going to see Console and KW there. If you hit those 2 trash cans and then hit Done, then it's going to ask you to refresh the screen. Once you do that, you should see Lone Wolf. Why we're doing that is because our browser store information in them, and the information that is new may not be there. Most of you probably do see Lone Wolf now, but just in case, that's what you would do. And I do suggest you do this at least once a week. It does really help with not having errors in your browser. All right, so you should see Lone Wolf now. And what you're just going to do is you're going to come over to where it says Connect Account, and you're just going to simply click on Connect Account. Mine's going to get a red ticker up here. Yours will not. Yours is going to open up and allow you to start filling out some information. It's going to ask you what your email address is, and it's also going to have below there, sign up. I suggest you don't put your email address in there, but you hit the sign up because this is most likely your very first time using Lone Wolf. If you have used Lone Wolf, because I saw a question in there earlier about using Transaction Desk, then you probably do have an account. You could go ahead and use that account if you'd like to, or you could go ahead and sign up and start a new account. You do not have to use your KW email address. That is a question that comes up quite often. You can use whatever email address you want. I suggest you use the email address that you check because that's where your authentication emails are going to go to. All right? All right, let me make sure I got my chat available for me while I'm going through here.
Ryan, you muted. Ryan, you're on mute.
How did have I been muted the whole time?
You weren't, but you were for a little bit. You're unmuted now.
Oh, somebody must have muted the room for me. All right. So once you've connected, I'm going to switch screens because I have another screen here that is connected. Over two. Once you're connected, you should see in your settings, it should look like this. It just shows connected. And there's nothing there to disconnect. There's nothing there to reconnect. It's just connected now. So what you can do is you can come over to opportunities and you're going to want to start a new opportunity. All your old opportunities that you have been working on, you're not able to go backwards and retroactively change that to Lone Wolf. If you're using DocuSign or using .loop, you're going to have to continue using that through this transaction. All right, so July 14th is the drop dead date on this. If you're doing a listing,
We're
and you're
seeing a different
listing-
tab right now, Ryan.
Yeah, it's Suno.
Oh, gotcha. My bad. That was screen 3.
I was like, I cannot see this thing. My son is like, you're
I will
old.
go backwards.
Yeah,
That was my fault. You can see it now, right?
Got it.
Yes.
Actually,
You see your
still-
settings in command.
You're on my old one. Why is it doing that? I had monitor issues earlier today. Here it is.
Did you turn it off and back on?
I did. That's how I got it to work, actually. Thanks for asking.
Did you
Clear
clear your
his cache
cache
and
and cookies?
Yeah, tried an incognito window.
Did you beat
All right,
on it
so
a few
we are on the
times?
correct screen now. So you will go into opportunities. You will see your pipeline. I'm going to look at some of these old opportunities that I have in here. This is a test one that I have in here. This one is connected. I'm going to show real quick. If I go into the document section, it is connected to Transact because that's a new one that started from the time that I signed it up. But if I go to this old one in here, this is using DocuSign. There's no way for you to disconnect this one and start using it. So you will have to continue using DocuSign throughout this transaction. Now, let's say that we're past July 14th and you have no more access to DocuSign. You're going to use Transact, but you're still going to have to upload your documents into here. So you won't have DocuSign there anymore. It'll go to my computer and you'll be able to upload your documents into here. So you'll just do the normal download and then upload. I actually would like to open up DocuSign here because this is the next biggest question. In your documents in DocuSign, most of your documents that are there are all going to be able to be are already in command because command is the storage. It's like your filing cabinet for all your documents. However, I most likely have a whole bunch of documents in here that I didn't have to upload because they weren't part of that, and I do want to keep them, and I have that fiduciary responsibility to keep them for 5 years. So if I want to go download my documents, I can go to select all, and then you'll see this download arrow right here. You can select the download arrow, and it's going to allow you to download everything that's in that room, and it's going to create a zip file that you can download immediately. I'll just hit save on that. And I can put that into a Google Drive, or I can put that onto my computer or onto a thumb drive or whatever your heart desires to save that to make sure you have it. And you'd have to do that one by each room. The alternative to that is to go to API Nation, and they have set up an API Nation that you can use, and it will help download all your files for you. If you've got hundreds of files, you could go that route. There is a cost behind that one. Doing it this way is completely free and easy to do.
Hey, Ryan,
Yes.
will command allow us to upload that zip file into a custom folder if we go back to the document section in command and house it there instead of on our physical device?
Xavier, I've never tried doing that. I'm going to ask Xavier if he knows the answer to that. Have you ever tried doing that?
I haven't, but it just popped in my brain, so I
That's
think we
actually
should
a
try
really
it.
good question. I've not tried doing that, but I do regularly go back and create folders, and I'm glad you asked that because as you can see right here, we have an offers folder and there's a split attached folder right in here under the custom folders area, and you can add as many custom folders as your heart desires right there. I do suggest if you're having multiple offer situations, you should be dropping your multiple offers right into that area. You can also, anytime you split or attach a document, it automatically creates a folder in here for you and puts those documents in here. So you can click add new, and then you could just say backup and create a folder, and then you can open that up and just drop those documents directly into this area that you downloaded. Let me actually try and see if that works since I'm already on here. That did not work.
If it doesn't,
So
if
we
it
have to
doesn't allow
unzip
the
that
whole
folder.
zip, yeah, then you
Yep.
just unzip and select all on the files inside and then put them in.
Correct. I'm gonna have to unzip it. I can drag and drop all 19 right there. It didn't like that. It just opened every single one of them. So I'd have to go through and unzip it first. Try it one more time here. Even one at a time. It's not wanting to do that. I'm gonna have to hit add document and go, and you can drag them right here. There we go. And then I can add that if I'd like. I'm gonna quit doing all this, but you can back up everything right into a custom folder within here. All right, so let's start a new transaction. This new opportunity, I am going to create a new contact. And let's call this let me say I've used that before. It doesn't matter what stage in here we go to. We just need to make sure that we fill out as much of the property address as we want. This is a listing, so I will use a close one. Say this is 1 million. And I'll give it a 3% rate. Estimated close.
I feel like Daffy Duck could afford like 4%.
We could have gone that way.
It's got
Thanks
that.
for playing. All right, so we've got the information here on the left-hand side. This panel over here pulls all the information of what's going on. We also have information over here in the general information, as well as the ownership. Everybody should have the ability to have ownership over here and add assignings if you have somebody else helping you, if you have leverage, such as transaction coordinator, or if you have admin, or you just have somebody else working with you on your team. If you have them and they're actually in your team, you can go into your drop down and you can put that person in there. All the people who are selected, like I'll go to my transaction coordinator. If I put her in, then she's automatically going to have access to this opportunity and going to get pushed over there. And I'm going to show how that looks here in a second. The more information you have over on the left-hand side, like key dates and stuff like that, pick contract date is today, the more that pulls over into a Lone Wolf Transact. So here's all your opportunity dates. All this will pull over there. And once we connect this to Transact, you're going to see there's also going to be a button we can click on that will sync everything. So let's go over to the document section first and pick our checklist type. So yours is going to be a little bit different depending upon what office you're part of. Residential listing resale is the one I'm going to choose for this one. And if you see these DSs or these LWs over here, that means that that document has been linked to Transact or DocuSign. The DS is for DocuSign, LW is for Lone Wolf Transact, and that's going to be pushing that document into your room automatically. If you don't see that, it's okay. You don't have to have that. Your office has just chosen not to push that in that way. There's a couple different ways to do this. What we're going to do is go to up here where it says sync with e-sign provider, and we're going to choose. If not, you're just going to have one choice. It depends on if you've already connected to DocuSign or if you've already connected to Lone Wolf. If you've connected to Lone Wolf, then you should be able to select it from here. And then here you see it's asking me who the listing agent 1 and listing agent 2 is. So I'm going to be listing agent 1, and I do want my transaction coordinator to come over, so I'm just going to put them in as listing agent 2 and sync agents. That will open up. Get all these, rid of all this junk. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. Bring that back up. Window on accident. Here we go. Start sharing. Right, dude. All right, so this is what pops up. This is the way Lone Wolf Transact looks. If you've used Loop before, very similar to looking to the way Loop looks. You can upload photos of your property right here if you want to make it so you can see it, or there's a syncing area where we can sync this. If we come down to the property right here, we can click on that, and we can put the name of the property in. We can also click on import property data, and we can choose this to come from the MLS, or we can choose it from the tax source. So if I was to choose from tax source, I could just come in here, type in the property address, 1231. If you've already got this listed on the MLS, you can pull in from the MLS and get all the pictures that are on the MLS, and it'll import the photo itself and all the information from there. I'd like to just pull it in from the tax requisition. So one of the questions that was in our chat earlier is what are some of the differences between, or some of the things that are better? We didn't have this option over in DocuSign, was the ability to import from the tax records or from the MLS. So let's import that information. And as you can see, the tax ID gets pulled in, the year it was built. I'll go in and put its residential. The legal description is put in there. It's not putting property includes and excludes. If we were to pull in from the MLS, it would pull that in for you if you've excluded anything. It's not pulling the taxes in, but it does put the tax ID in there. So we can hit save on that. And if we wanted to, we could upload our own photo. You can see parties. Myself, I'm in here. Donald Duck's in here. And I also brought Rose over. So my transaction coordinator's in here. So she has the ability to work within here. I can also remove by clicking on the 3 dots and hitting edit or remove. You can add additional parties if we'd like to. So if we wanted to add a title company or anybody else in here, we could definitely do that. Especially if there's more parties to the transaction, such as buyers or sellers. The offer, we can just put in the offer details here. So the purchase price, I'm going to put the 1 million in here that I said it was. The deposit. Put the offer date in here. If I had filled this stuff out on the detail section over right here, then all this would be connecting right here. So I wouldn't have to do that. Expires. Just gonna save that right there. By putting these dates in, it's going to fill in some other areas, and I'll show you what that looks like and where it's at. We've got across the top right here is the paperwork, so we can see all the paperwork we're used to over in .loop and also in DocuSign. It works the same way. We can see any signings that are currently going on, which there's not yet, but once we do put something into sign, which we will shortly, I'll come back to here and you'll see that there'll be signings going on. You can see if they're drafts, if they're waiting on somebody, or if they're signed. To-dos, we don't have any to-dos yet. Timeline shows those dates that I just put in over here in the offer area. So you can see May 11th as an offer date, offer expiration, offer acceptance on May 12th. And everything I've clicked on so far in here is recorded right here for you to see. That way, if you've got somebody else helping with it and you want to go see if they've made any changes, you can look at it right from the history area. This is also helpful for our MCAs. I do want to show you up in the top right-hand corner that if you need any help, you can come in here and you can add comments to this. You can use the question mark button to find any walkthroughs on how to do anything in here, and apply template, share this if you need to share it with somebody. So if there's another agent in your office you're working with, you can share this transaction with them that way. You can also export this whole transaction by hitting export button, or you can just delete the whole transaction. And I'm calling this transaction because that's what we call it in Lone Wolf Transact instead of calling it a loop or a room. It's a transaction. Now a template, we're going to come back to that in June, and we're going to focus on some of the templates because that'll really help you work through some of the stuff that you will hear me mention it a few times throughout the call. All right, so we're going to go back to the paperwork section. So these ones that are in here are forms just like they are in DocuSign, and they were pushed into the room because of what we had already mapped out over in the document section in command. The ones that said Lone Wolf got pushed over into this area. You can also notice, unlike what was going on in DocuSign, the folders are matching what was over in command as well. We've got the listed, under contract, and closed. Now we've got up at the top right here, you can search through all your documents that are in here. So if you have a ton of documents and you don't want to go looking for them, you can search it. We've got upload by email. This is really simple. This is a feature that both .loop and DocuSign had, but they're a little more difficult over in those other platforms. Here, it's very, very simple. If I have an email, I'm going to use Xavier as an example. Xavier, you guys sent me an offer over, and instead of me wanting to download that offer out of my email and then re-upload it in here, I can just forward that email. And when I forward it, I'm going to click on upload by email, and you can see this long string right here. I just hit this copy button, and then I'm going to paste this in the forward on my email, and it will upload everything that's attached and the email itself. So you'll see the actual email uploaded in here as a PDF, and you'll see the attachments to that email uploaded in here as a PDF. So that's a time saver right there for you. Then I can also create new folders in here. So if I hit new folder, my favorite one is working folder. I tend to create that for every single transaction. So I'll just hit create, and now I've got a working folder, and it's kind of my catch-all to throw things into. Then we've got paperwork. This is where we go and start adding all of our paperwork here. So I can go to all libraries, I can go to the Florida Association, I can go to the FREC forms, and I can go to my specific office. So whatever office you have or part of, you'll have that listed here, and you can go ahead and select it. I tend to just keep it on all libraries and just search away to my heart's desire. So if you're looking for the residential contract for sale, you can go ahead and pick that residential contract for sale right there and hit add, and it will add it to the room. Or if you so choose to use the as is, we can find that one and add that one as well. Once we click out of that, you can see there's a not filed folder it creates right here, and it puts these forms into the room. Remember, these are just forms, they are not documents. You can grab by clicking on these dots that are on the left-hand side of it and drag it to wherever you want in here, one by one. There's not an option for you to grab them both and drag them both at the same time. You do have to do them one by one. And you can organize them into whatever folder you want. All right. Is there any questions at this point? I'm going to check. I've been ignoring the chat so I can stay focused, but I'm going to look through it real quick to see if anybody's got any quick questions for where we're at.
Can you hit the little checkbox to select all in one of those folders? And then is there
Sure, I can
a
show you
menu
what
of
that looks
options
like.
that pull
Select
up?
all right here.
Yeah.
It's going to pop up, and you get this beautiful bar that shows up at the bottom right here that tells you some of the actions you can do. So you can,
But there's no
go
move
into
it to another
editor,
folder
which is
in those
what we're going to
actions.
do here next. You can sign the document just like you could over in DocuSign. You can email all these documents. So if I want X to look at this and see if everything's okay before I send it out for signature, I can do that. I can also just download all the documents. I can print these documents. Remember, when you download, print, or email these documents, though, all the information that you have in the details is going to be populated into a document. So if you think you're downloading a blank document, that's not what's happening here. And I can also delete these documents. All right, so you also have the options over here on the right-hand side where these three dots are to do some of the same things. You can download, print, and delete. Right. Why do we need to move to Lone Wolf? You don't have to. You can use any signature platform you want to. Currently, we are using DocuSign because we have a partnership with DocuSign, and that partnership gives you access to this at no additional cost. That partnership is going to be over in July, and we will be transitioning over to Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf is a company that Keller Williams has a partnership with because the company who has invested in Keller Williams also owns Lone Wolf, and they're giving this as part of our partnership. This, in my opinion, is much simpler and easier to use. I've used both DocuSign and I've used Outlook, and I think you're getting the best of both worlds here. In fact, before we even went to DocuSign, I was hoping we would go to one of Lone Wolf's products. This is a newer product that they've created, but it is much simpler. And I'm going to show you as we walk through this why I think it's much simpler. I'm trying to help give you both worlds too here while we're talking through it. All right, from here, we're just going to go ahead and hit the editor so we can see these documents in the editor. They've kind of set this up a little bit like a DocuSign rather than .loop, because in .loop you could kind of just move right through the whole thing at once, whereas we've got a two-phase approach, just like in DocuSign, where we would come in, we can see the editor, and then we go into signature phase. So in here, you can see these fields all are fields that you can fill out. If you're not seeing this, if it doesn't let you go in, if you didn't see the editor at all, it's because you don't have a license. So let me go back a little bit. If you are in here and if you selected these documents and you do not see this editor button right here, it's because you don't have your license on file. You don't have a NERDS number on file. That will make sure that you do not have access to the editor, because you should not be editing a document because you don't legally have the ability to do so. You can still go into the signature side of it, but you won't have the ability to go into the editor side of it. If you do click on a document, it will take you into the editor, but it'll have big red marks all over it saying that it's got a watermark on it and this document is not to be edited. So let's pretend like we all do have a license and move through that. I'm not sure on that answer, Chris. I'd have to find out more information on that. Not our members.
I have a quick question. I created the account with Lone Wolf and it's telling you to complete the setup and choose your MLS. And Miami Realtors Association is not an option.
You don't have to worry about that part of it. You can skip
Okay.
that part. Just go directly into the document setter. There's a bunch of stuff going on with Miami right now, and we don't even require the agents to set that part of it up. It's already in the back end for you. They've already taken care of setting up. Once that's available for you, all you'll be able to see by doing that is seeing your dashboard that gives you numbers from your association. It has nothing to do with your signature part of it, though. Thank you for bringing that up, because I'm sure a lot of other people are going to see the same thing. All right, so in the left-hand side, you're going to see the form documents. One thing that's really nice is you can see the referral agreement. I did not bring this in, but you can see it there. I can actually click that and drag it back into here if I forgot to bring it in, and it'll be part of this transaction. Or I can drag something out of it. So if I don't want it to be part of this transaction, I can very easily drag it down to this area, and it will be pulled out of that. Where's that wire fraud? All right. So again, all these are able to be edited over here. If you go to the very far right, you can see parties, and this just shows you who's part of this transaction. So Donald Duck, myself, and my transaction coordinator. We can also go to listing info. And this is just like a form. If you just fill the form out on the right-hand side, it fills out the document over here. So I'm going to move the contract up so that we can see that easier. But the MLS number, the unit number, all this stuff's in here. If I decided I wanted to change anything on here, I didn't want the whole postal zip, I could do that. And you can see it did edit over there. If I came in here and I wanted to put in here a list of prices, it's going to be the purchase price. So excludes, I'm gonna put in washer and dryer. That'll fill it out. Excludes, let's see, the it's interesting, it's not excluding it there, should. That next part I'm gonna show you in a second. Tax ID is good, but should be filling out the property excludes. Hey, Brett, you've got a list going. Can you throw that into my list? The property.
what was it, Ryan?
excludes. You see the property excludes is not the washer and dryer is not showing up.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, other info. So purchase price is in there, the closing date. We can go ahead and set that in here. So go away. Closing date in here. Possession date, same. Deposit, offer date, all that's good. Clauses. Now, clauses are going to be things that you would particularly use over and over and over and over. For example, on mine, if I go to my personal one right here, I've got buyer's agent fee, buyer agent fee, closing coordinator, transaction coordinator. These are all exactly the same thing, but it's just me not wanting to type this over and over and over. So if there's something that you type regularly and keeping your contracts, you can do that. Also, maybe your office has something that they want you to put in here, or maybe you're part of a team, they want you to put some kind of clause in there constantly that you don't want to type over and over and over. Or maybe your lawyers want you putting something on your contract regularly. This is an area where you can do it. You can hit create new clause, and it will allow you to enter a title in, like I did, buyer's agent, and then you can put whatever that is. So seller to pay 500 closing fee. I can put that in there, and now I can add it to anywhere I want on here, such as this area where it says add clause. Now I can just come in here and I could put the buyer fee. I don't know why I called it that when I said seller. But you see it just enters it into there. So you can save that into yours, and that'll be saved going forward. You won't have to recreate that. It'll always be there for you. So that's clauses. And then you have tools over here, which just gives you a text box, a highlighter, a line, freehand, and strike through. So we can go in here and we can draw on anything we want. We can strike through anything we want. And we can put a text box anywhere we need to if it's missing it. I will tell you some of the changes that are in here versus DocuSign is we do not have to worry about the sizing on here. So one of the areas that's been a problem in the past there is the legal description. Sometimes it keeps on going. So if we went to listing info here and went to the legal description, I will just start typing a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but you can see it goes down to the next line automatically for me. And if I keep on going, it'll eventually resize for me. Keeps on, it'll get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, but it'll all fit. All right, so that's going to be the listing info, and that's so if I was ready to prepare this for signing, I could hit prepare sign. It's going to ask me where I want to put this folder once it comes back signed. So it's not just going to throw them in there anywhere. It actually let you choose. If you select to just go, it'll throw it in the not filed folder that you saw earlier. So I'm just going to put it in my working folder and hit create. You can see it's using AuthentiSign on there. One of the things I really like about this is the fact that it does the same thing in multiple areas. So if you forgot something back there, you don't have to go back. You can fix it over here. One of the first things we need to do, though, is hit add from transaction. So we're going to hit add participants and then go add from transaction, and we can choose who's going to be signing. So on these documents, Donald Duck's going to be the only person signing. So I can select Donald Duck, and then that person will be mapped. And you can see all the initials are already there. Mapped already. Somebody's drawn on our page. It's a nice yellow line. It's on the it's on the Zoom side, not on here. All right. Next is documents. So in documents, we can reorganize all the documents again, just like we could over on the other side. So if I wanted to, I can click on it and drag it down. Or again, I
Ryan,
can add another document or form. Yes, Sasha.
so just now when you were on adding, so say the seller did an initial, you needed to add another initial.
Yeah.
What you were showing now, how do we actually add the initial?
Well, you don't have to. It does it for you. It maps it over. So I am going to show you to add additional initials if you needed it and it wasn't mapped over, but I'll show you that in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
But if you needed another person added, you could go, okay, I need to add a new person. I could just go from here, put their name in, and I can do Daffy. You can enter the role. I'll put them as a buyer. And you can add them to the transaction. If you want to, you can save it to your contacts list. That's not in command. That's going to be your contacts list within Lone Wolf. Just like in DocuSign, if you added somebody, it would add them to your contacts list in there. There's different signing roles in here. So you've got remote signer, reviewer, and CC. If you have somebody who has the same email address, they also give you the option of putting a signing pin. So if you got a husband and wife and they're sharing the same email address, like let's say this one was the D1 duck that I had from Donald, I could do the same thing here. I could just give her a pin of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe get Donald Duck 5, 6, 7, 8. That way, when they sign, it authenticates that it's a completely different signer. Can we add 3+ of the same signing role? 3, absolutely. You can keep on adding to your heart's content. It's just command only gives you 10 signers now. It used to be only 2, but now you can go up to 10, but it only pulls over 2. But you can keep 10 into the command side of it. So once you come over here, it pulls into, and then you got to continue to add on more people. And clauses be saved and reused across all folders and files. Yes, absolutely. Those clauses I had in here were from previous trainings, and they were saved in there for me to reuse. All right. Formula is an option. Good question. Not so far, but definitely asking if Lone Wolf will provide that for us, because there's some areas in here, like I would really love to see them add a formula in here so this is add up, so I'd stop seeing people put balance here. All right. Next thing in here is you can set your signing order as well. So if I wanted, I hit save on this, so I can put Daffy in here. Now I can set my signing order. I can choose what I want this to be, 1 or 2, or they can both be 1, however I want. Otherwise, if I turn it off, they both just go at the same time. All right, so I showed you docs where you can reorganize them. Now tools, just like we did over on the other side, we can go ahead and put text boxes and stuff with a markup over here, but we have additional fields in here where we can put signature fields in here. So if you're missing a document or you added your own PDF document, you can go ahead and put these fields on your own PDF document. An example of that would be seller's property disclosure. You went and downloaded the seller's property disclosure from the MLS, and you're filling this out with the buyer, and you need to add the initials and all, you can do that here. Next month, when I'm doing the level 200 version of it, more advanced, I'm going to be teaching you how to set templates up, which will make it so you only have to do that one time. You'll never have to do that again. So you just template the seller's property disclosure, and then you just apply the template, and it automatically puts those in there for you. But you have all these options of signatures, initials. What I want you to pay attention to, though, here is on the signature, you can see this is here. There's also the date attached to it, and it doesn't move with it. So you want to be really careful if you don't see it, that those are there, but they come in right next to each other. Something they've added into this one that is not in DocuSign is also the auto time. So you can actually get the time that it was signed, not just the date. There's also the option in here for you to click on initial pages. So if you click on initial pages, I can choose that I want a small initial. I want on the left bottom of the document And if I do that, I can choose who's I want in there. I can place the initials. As you can see, I can see deduct is in the bottom left-hand corner on each one. So it just automatically puts them in there where they belong on each one. So it's an option similar to what I was talking about with the template, except for it just automatically puts it in that bottom left corner. All right.
Hey Ryan, I don't think that actually did that yet. I think you need to pick which document to go on, and then it'll apply it.
It just put it right there because that deduct wasn't there before.
I think it
right
was.
here, the blue one was not there initially.
Because you see, you put Donald and Daffy, but Donald and Daffy didn't show up in the bottom left. Click one of the documents down. Click
Yeah,
as
I see
is,
that
and then hit place.
this one isn't.
You see
it
that,
says
right?
select one document. See.
Yeah, right there where it's right above where it says place initials. Click one of the documents to the left there.
There you go. Now they're back in there again. All three. And you can see you got to still move them around. All right, so that's tools. Let's see if there's anything else I'm missing here that you need. Attachments. We were playing with this last time, and it makes it so that if you have this on a document, somebody can click on that and add an attachment to a document. I've been trying to think of a use case for that, and I really don't know of one. But if somebody does come up with one, please let me know. I'd love to use it in a future training, but I can't think of attachments, what you would want somebody else to attach to your document. Drop downs, you can definitely use that if you want to put a drop down in somewhere and give them a choice of what you want them to put in there. Initial choices, radio buttons, so we can put radio buttons in there. If you need to add additional radio buttons in here, just click on the radio button. You can see you got a choice between a trash can and a plus. So you do plus, you can add more. So it's multiple. You choose one, but it's multiple choice. That's the difference on radio versus a checkbox. Checkbox, you can pick as many as you want. This one, you can only pick one.
Ryan, Debbie came up with a very useful reason for an attachment, especially from a listing agreement, like if there's an inventory of furniture or personal property.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Debbie.
And Chris said tenant leases if it's like a commercial transaction. That's great too.
That is good. Thank you for those. Now we got them to use next time. All right, so that's going to be your signing tools. Now we got layouts. And layouts, basically a layout is a signature template. So if anybody's ever used a signature template in DocuSign before, you can do the same thing over here. It just puts the signatures in the place they are. That's going to take a little bit more work to show you how to do that. So I'm going to put that in the advanced classes for Jim. And we're just going to move past that here. We can go to options. In options, you can choose your time zone. I highly suggest all of you, because pretty much everybody here is probably in the Eastern time zone. We're all in Florida that I'm aware of. So you can come in here and change it, because mine has been changed already, but yours probably is saying Central Standard Time. So go and change it to Eastern Standard Time and hit Save Changes. You can go into your signature, and in your signature, you can choose what font style you want it to be in. So I can make it really fancy looking if I want to. I could just draw it myself. I don't suggest that. It looks horrible every time I do it, but it might look good when you do it. And you can sign something and take a picture of it and upload it that way as well. So whatever choice you choose, you can go ahead and do that. Just make sure you check this box right here, because it says, remember my signature for future signs. If you miss that, you're going to have to keep on doing it over and over and over. So once you set it, you're good to go. I'm just going to keep mine on this fancy looking one. See, we can also go in and see expiration dates. So the expiration date is going to pop up every time you send this out for signature, asking you when this document will expire. So a good example of this is you're putting in the document that it has up to a certain point before it is expires. So you can set that specific date as the expiration date. You also have reminders. So somebody needs to have this signed by tomorrow at 12 p.m., then you can set a reminder at 9 a.m. to make sure that if they forgot to sign it last night, that they sign it first thing in the morning. And then the AuthentiSign ID position is just telling you exactly where they're stamping their signature on there that says that it was authenticated and signed at a certain time. So you can choose top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, your choice where you want that to end up. And then if for whatever reason you just want to clear everything you just did, you can come down here and go to clear signing fields and clear markups. All right. So any questions on setting up the signature side of it?
Does the time zone factor daylight savings?
I think it will say right here, apply daylight savings time. You can check that little button right there and it'll turn it on or off. So in our area, we need to turn that on. I didn't plant X in this class, but I'm glad he's here. Anybody else have any questions for where we're at? I recommend not allowing them to draw their signature. Super helpful. All right. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send this out for signatures. So as I said, when we hit the sign button up here and go to next, it's going to pop up and say, when do you want it to expire? So we can go ahead and say we want this to expire on June 10th. Actually, I'm going to put it as May 12th at 11:59. And I want it to remind them every day at 9 a.m. And I can go ahead and hit send. And it's going to send that out to be signed. And you can see it says it was sent and 0 of 2 signers have signed. And when I click on the little I information right there, it tells us who we're waiting on. Donald and Daffy are both being waited on. If I need to resend it, I can resend it. But how many people make mistakes? Because I make them all the time. I need to go pull this back. So I can go in here and go to reset. If I click on the 3 dots, I've got resend invites, reset, duplicate, signing details, and delete. I need to pull this back so I can make some changes. So I hit reset, and it will pull that back. And I can go make any changes I need to do. Like I need to get rid of this right here. I can go ahead and work on getting rid of that line. Which is why I would go to the options and go to clear markings and clear markups. I'm still saying it. Where's my eraser? That's the next question.
Ryan, does that reset option work? Does that reset option work if one person's already signed?
I'm going to check on that. Either I'm doing something wrong, it did something wrong. So if we've signed it just like in DocuSign, you're going to see the red forms in here that show that they're PDFs and they'll be put into the document folder that you said they would be put in. So I chose the working folder. So once I have signed these, which they're not going to anybody real because that's not a real email address, but they would sign it and it all show up in the working folder, all as red documents. And then from there, you can come back to command and you can go into choose your folder. And I have the, actually I need to refresh this page so I can see the folder I created. And I can come back over to here and I can see my working folder. And any documents that are PDFs that have been signed, you'll be able to see in the drop-down and pull them directly into your rep. And that is your flow over there. So my suggestions are making sure you fill this left side out completely first. You can bring all your documents in. You're going to see that if you come to templates, some of your offices are already working on this, but we are creating template areas. So if you click on apply template, you can see that you may see some that say office next to them, like our office in Clearwater. I've worked with them to try and get these set up here. And if I clicked on the buy or resale, it'll let you choose what documents you want to pull in from that folder or not pull in. So I can apply and all those documents will get pulled into the room. Some of them are already put in there. You can also create your own. Again, I'm going to go over that in our June session. I'm showing you how to create your own.
Hey, Ryan.
That's pretty much the class for today. So next, I'm going to take some questions that we didn't get answered during the the beginning session of the call.
That's what I've got for you. There was a good question up in the top. So, if I want to share just one transaction with my transaction coordinator, is that possible? Is that share feature that you showed right there?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you start that over here and go into your detail section, you can put them in right here. So as long as they're made an assignee in this, they can be shared with that way. That would be the source, okay? You want to do everything in command first. I'm glad you asked that question because command is the source. If you don't create it in command, then it's not going to come over to here because you can see this button right here now. It says sync to transact. I can click that and now it will sync all the pertinent information. Anything that's got this little circle right here is showing that it's been synced, including the assignees. So if I change the assignees at any point, like I can go and add somebody else to this. I'll add Bob Barker to this one. And then I can come over here and sync to transact and it will sync over Ryan and Bob Barker now. Now if I come back over here, I should be able, I'll refresh my page just to make sure. I should see Bob Barker is now in the room. And Rose has left the room. If I wanted to, I could add her from here though too. I could go back and add her. Just type in Rose. I'd have to add her as new, create new, because I haven't put her on the side before. Rose would be just be added. And then if I wanted to, I could hit save contacts and she'll be there for me always. I don't suggest that you do this as a way to add people because you want to make sure it goes back and forth. Obviously, you have to add your transaction coordinator if you want them to have access to the room. But if you don't put them in here as assignee, then it's not going to sync over to this side and vice versa. There's another way to do that. And again, that goes in templates and we'll go into that in June. I just don't want to get too far deep into that. List price is wrong, Bob. Thanks.
And then Ryan, just like you showed, the workflow has always been the same and it continues here. You start with the contact in command, then you create the opportunity for the contact, then you go to Lone Wolf Transact from the opportunity. If you go straight to Lone Wolf for any reason, it's not going to talk back to command and you won't have the links there to upload your paperwork.
I also want to make you aware that like when we moved from .loop over to DocuSign, we were correcting things as we went. We were finding issues constantly, and they've worked really hard over at Lone Wolf to try and get a lot of this stuff in here, and we're finding issues here as well. For example, the buyer brokerage agreement we found in there, and when you go to put in your broker, you could put in Keller Williams Realty, and then Brett Bishop, and then it starts putting that in the signature area. So we've got to get that corrected. But for the most part, everything is in here and ready for you to get going with. But if you do find some, please let your market center tech trainer know, and they'll be happy to get it onto our list. Like I was just saying to Brett, can you please add that to our list? Because there's a couple things that we've asked them to make changes to, and they will work hard with us to get those changed. This class is recorded. I know I went somewhat fast, and you may want to go through it at like half speed. You're more than welcome to go do that. I sent it out last week on Monday. I'll send it out again as long as you're registered for the class. I've got your email address on file, and I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of it. We'll be doing this class one more time this month. Next Monday, it's going to be the exact same class again. We're going to go through it step by step again. So you're more than welcome to attend it as many times as you want and watch that recording as many times as you want. Starting in June, we'll be sending out the dates here soon. We'll do 2 sessions with advanced, and we'll show you those advanced versions, and we'll have them on our YouTube page as well, so you can go back through the advanced and watch it at your leisure. A full example of the upload of an email. Sure, I can do that. Let me see if I've got an email to send over there. Go to my email. For emails that I have a attachment.
Hey, Ryan, while you're looking that up, would you say the best practice is since it's a hard cutoff with DocuSign, if we have a listing, let's say, that we already started the opportunity through DocuSign, but it's not yet sold, and or a buyer who we started DocuSign got an EBBA, but they're not actually under contract yet, we would manually create a transaction in Lone Wolf and just have to do the download, upload in our opportunity?
Absolutely. Especially if it's the listing, you've already started it in DocuSign. You're not going to be able to finish it out in DocuSign once July comes along. So just finish it out in Lone Wolf manually and then put it over there. That's the only option you really have at that point. It's either that or sign it by pen and paper or use any other signature platform that you might have. Again, we're not requiring you to use this. However, it's part of our services, and we're hopefully showed you today. It's very simple to use. Everything's listed on the right or the left-hand side, and it's clean. It's easy. It's not going back and forth. That's one thing I did have a problem with in DocuSign, is I was constantly flipping back and forth between like e-signatures or going right into the room itself and having to get in and out of things. You don't have to do that here. You're staying in one place. If you mess up, there's another place where you can fix it at. And I would suggest that it's up to your market center when your market center is choosing to launch and go fully into this, but I would suggest that you guys stop doing any other transactions in this as soon as July comes around. I wouldn't wait until July 14th to make that choice. I would stop immediately in July and just start getting used to it. But you do have that 2-week period because you got until July 14th. July 15th, you will no longer see DocuSign as an option. So a document that I can send over there. Let's see, I'll go by attachments. No, I've got the newsletter from our office. I'll attach that. So I'm just going to go in here and go to forward. And then I'm going to go to upload by email. I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to go into the to portion of the forward and just hit Control V on my keyboard or Command V and hit send. And then I'm going to go ahead and refresh my page. Might take a second. Push again. See, patience is a virtue. We'll see. Attached on here. More stuff. There it is. All right, so we got the PDF right here, and it just shows that there's an email in here with a bunch of images attached to it. And if I go back, doesn't look like there was a document attached on that one. It's just the pictures that were attached. You can find when it's actually got a document. There we go. Do the same thing here. Now these, if you were doing this in DocuSign, the way you would do it in DocuSign is there would be an email address that you had been created from DocuSign, and you could save that into your address book and forward it to that every single time. And then you'd have to get the room ID number, and you'd have to put that into the subject. You don't have to do that here. It's really as simple as just go to here, copy this, and forward it to it. And then it'll email it into the room. So that one happened much quicker. So you can see here that this is email I got from team leader in that office. And then we can also see that there was an attachment that came in here as well. Really simple. All right. Any questions on that? Awesome. Any questions on anything else we went over? Where can I find the recording of this Zoom? The recording will be emailed directly to you, and we will also have it on our YouTube page for the South Florida region. And that will also be in the email as well. My pleasure. Thank you guys for coming. And should you have any other questions that did not come up in this class or you wanted to answer, feel free to go onto that YouTube channel and you can ask questions on there. You can also email me back. This is going to be much better. I'm sure most of you guys are going to enjoy this a lot better than DocuSign. Like I said, not a lot of flipping back and forth. And if you were used to using .loop, this looks very similar to .loop. You can make it's listed like this, and it's got the same look over here on the left-hand side as it did. And once you get into some of the advanced stuff, when I show you that in June, it's just going to make your life a lot easier because most of this stuff's not going to even have to be filled out. If you go into the agreement, all the details are already filled out in there for you, as you saw before. If we add the template to it, all the things that you need to check boxes and you need to do the radio buttons, all that gets filled out automatically for you when you create a template. So there's not much to fill out other than just verifying the rest of the information that could be missing. All right, guys, have a great day, and please feel free to give me some feedback. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye.
Thank you. I'm gonna stop sharing.